Hello and welcome to Heartlit Living. Today we're going to be discussing Starseed and Starseed Origins. This isn't going to be directly like where did you come from specifically? Are you an Arcturian? Are you from the Pleiades? I don't know enough about specific races, but I'm hoping that we can pull out certain characteristics and be able to know enough about where we came from so that we can know what traits we carried from those lifetimes and from those planets to this one. And that's really going to be the basis of this. This reading is kind of knowing what information and wisdom did we have from other lifetimes and other planets, and what did we hope to bring to this planet. I find it to be a little disorienting for a lot of starseeds, including myself, when there's like wisdom that I know that I have, but I don't know where it's coming from, and no one else seems to be living in the way that makes the most innate sense to me. So there can be a little bit of doubt, like, is what I'm seeing even real? Like, is what I'm seeing even possible? I hope that none of you have those doubts or those questions, but if you do, or if you don't, hopefully this will just be a little bit more validation of where and what feels like home to you, what resonates in that frequency that makes you feel so uniquely your own, and predestined as what you are, as a unique individual that comes here with much to bestow the humanity and the human race with right now. So we'll go into that. We'll answer a few different questions regarding, where am I from? What was it like? What did I learn? What am I bringing from that world's perspective here to Earth? So hopefully this is going to be interesting. I honestly did this reading like a year ago, and I wasn't able ever to retrieve the information from that video, which was kind of disappointing because so much cool, juicy, like just unforeseen information kind of popped through with that reading. And I was just like, what? And I was like mind blown, just kind of mind boggled how like certain characteristics that I see in people who are seen as outliers, or innovators or creatives right now, how a lot of those traits came from above and beyond and elsewhere, and how that fits into the collective evolution that we're all going through as a collective and as a humanity right now. So it's going to go from left to right. So this is going to be the amethyst is going to be pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, and pile number 4. I will have timestamps below so you can meet me there. Hello, pile number 1. If you chose the amethyst, then this is your pile. We are just going to get started. I'm going to pull a few of these to answer certain questions, and then I'm going to keep pulling more to answer different questions that I have listed down. So this first question is, Starseed, where am I from? And we have water your garden, nourishment, body care, tenderness, rest. In reverse, we have double mission, light worker, starseed, serve the world by being you. And we have star ancestors, hidden secrets, lost wisdom, look a little deeper. Okay. So I definitely feel like your star race has been to Earth many times, and your star race was one of the original teacher races that came to Earth to sort of pass down hidden knowledge or hidden secrets or like hidden potential. Like, hey, humanity, kind of like directing humanity's growth and development. Like, hey, like the pyramids here, like a lot of people believe that they were help designed by aliens. And this card and sort of this perspective is, I guess, backing that in a way. but it's also like dropping ideas in the collective consciousness when humans are ready for them. So there's a little bit of like working etherically with the human race. So maybe you guys were almost seen as like, okay, and you do this a lot as a race. You're kind of like a teacher race. I'm kind of also I don't think this is Thoth, but I'm being drawn to Thoth. So maybe your race of people helped establish places like Atlantis here and other like higher vibrational being led races on other planets. I'm not sure if these 3 consecutive stars mean anything to you. Again, I don't really know constellations like that or specific star races associated with constellations. This is just going to be more like interpretation of characteristics and traits. But yeah, okay, so I'm also, your race seems like it worked really hard. It was very diligent. For some reason, there wasn't a lot of rest or physical nourishment where you came from. And I don't know if that was because your planet was destroyed or if that was just the mentality that you guys had. It was like kind of like all work, no play. And you might even feel some of that in this lifetime where it's very easy for you to get carried away in your work. It's very easy for you to get carried away in tasks and projects. And right, there's nothing wrong with that, but I do feel like a part of like why you're here on Earth at this time is to learn specifically from the Hathors and other divine feminine based practices, just like Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, which is all about being slower. You might have also come from a realm that was like very like fast paced, like almost instantaneous, like not fast and like urgent, just like fast and things like happening so quickly. Like this planet might feel very slow, like to you, like painfully slow to you at times, like where your brain works like almost instantaneously and like the answer's there before you even have time to think about it, and certainly before anyone else in the room has time to think about it. And you're just like you could be witty, you could be funny, but this is like a very like fast-paced energy. You're like almost like 50 yards ahead of anyone else in the room, and you're here to bring thoughts and ideas and consciousness, I believe, that kind of resonates at that higher frequency, because a lot of times higher frequencies are associated with fast, but like the Earth, it's like moving so fast that it doesn't seem like it's moving at all, and that's why it seems kind of instantaneous. But yeah, what was life like on your planet? It does seem humorous, it does seem funny, but yeah, like everybody's working, everyone kind of feels like they've got something to do, they're kind of serious, they're very dedicated, but you don't understand, like there's almost like this like lack of understanding of like, how do I explain this? It's not a lack of understanding of self-interest, because you understand that the work that you're doing is interesting to you and does benefit you, and like that's like natural, but it's kind of like, okay, so it's kind of like this feeling of like it's idiotic to think that you could do any action and it not be equally for others, or not have like keeping things to yourself. Like I feel like that's like very foreign to you. It's like you like want to be working with others, you want to be cooperating with others, and I feel like this planet was very cooperative. Like everyone shared everything, and like you couldn't help not to. This might have been like a very like telepathic, like it doesn't even think like thinking was involved. It was almost like this instantaneous knowing where like everyone's kind of on the same page. And yeah, just like progressing human race forward, progressing other races forward. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's almost like you dream in feelings, and like you do not even necessarily like specific, like what is this? It's kind of like she's seeing potentials and visions, but she knows they don't have a concrete structure just yet, and she doesn't need them to. It's kind of like adapting inevitably with a coalition of instantaneous facts that are coming together, which are always kind of changing the shape of a thing. So you might also, this planet, it was like very creative, very fun, very funny, and always like shifting, but like not in like a chaotic way. It's like you just understand the flow of the universe, and you can never be pinned down, because there's this natural ebb and flow that's happening almost instantaneously. So maybe you've been like diagnosed with like ADD or ADHD, or, you know, people are like, whoa, like slow down. Because, and like people like ask you maybe even to like write things down, or like pinpoint a specific vision, or like, why do you know that, or why do you think that? And it's like it seems almost hard, like unnecessary, not hard, just unnecessary to put things into like specific forms and formats like that. It's almost like, yeah, I'll know what to do when I get there. I don't have to think about it until I'm there. Like, I'll know exactly what I need to do once I'm there. Like, the form will create itself. Like, I don't need to create the form will create itself. I'm just focusing on doing my part, which is focusing on the feeling and the principles and like the guiding. It almost feels like a light, but it's like a sensation. It's like this guiding sensation. And I guess you could call it intuition, but it's not like that. It's like an idea has been planted. It's almost like this like direct connection that you're like, you have an intention or an idea, or like you're like, I want to accomplish this task. And so it's almost like you put this specific frequency, the specific coordinates like in your GPS, in your mind, and it like kind of like comes into your mind, and you're guided by this like ever shifting, like you've already like said yes to this thing. And so there's like almost like until that thing is completed, there's like this like guidance GPS thing that's like in your mind, and it's like guiding you to further be directed closer towards the accomplishment of this task or whatever. And that's what you're guided by. It's not like, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna do that and then you're like, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I just know that I'm following this thing, and I trust that I'll know what to do when the moment comes. I just feel like upside down world. Water your garden, nourishment, body care, tenderness, and rest. There might have even been a fear of these things on your planet. Like maybe people got too indulgent. There's like a memory of this on your planet. Ooh, people got too soft or too tender. There might have been a planet even before this planet that your people were connected to where they felt too tender, like they felt vulnerable and attacked because of this. And there's almost like this fear trigger response that happened on your planet that made you shift your focus to almost be healthy hypervigilance in a way, and very protective of like other planets who didn't want the consciousness that hurt their previous planet to hurt others. And so there's this very like social, but it's like very guarded. It's a very like guarded warrior mentality. Not even warrior, it's like it's not a hero either. It's protective, but it's like more like advocacy. helping other people advocate for themselves. Yeah, okay, so I hope that was helpful. What was it like? Jesus, what was it like? Yeah, this is a little sad. This is almost like your planet was destroyed and your people were almost like in a grieving trauma state of like, well, how do I build resiliency? How do I find peace within? How do I pick up the pieces within myself to create the strength that I feel like I didn't have before? So you might be really good at that in this time as well, as like knowing where to find peace in yourself, knowing that sometimes shit does hit the fan and sometimes it is hard and sometimes you don't have the answers, but you do always have yourself and you can always center yourself. That might be like a hyper focus of yours in this lifetime, is to feel centered. Like before you do anything, before you can do anything, it's like knowing how to find your balance point and how to prioritize that before anything else. Otherwise you might feel a little bit off kilter and chaotic. You're just like, before I do any of that, I have to start here. Yeah, there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of ancestral pain. I do intuitively feel, even before we get to answering that you're also here with a lot of your soul members from this planet doing healing those ancestral lines, those ancestral trauma lines. Like, it's safe for me to be embodied. It's safe for me to be on this planet. It's safe for me to trust my tenderness again. This is a huge thing. For whatever reason on this planet that you recently incarnated from, you didn't feel like you could trust the physical planet around you. Maybe it was not as inhabitable as Earth is, but there's like a lack of trust of the universe that comes with feeling like you can't inherently trust your environment and trust the nature around you and trust like kind of leaning in and being held. There's almost like this like fear of like being held or not being held. There's this ultra self-reliance, which is very healthful and very beautiful, to know that you always have peace inside you and you can always come back to that, and that being your square one. But there's almost like this need to be held. Whoa. I don't know if you heard that. I think it was either thunder or it was a loud bang when I said that. So yeah, this lifetime really feels like, this one on Earth right now really feels like it's here to shed light on you and to help you feel warm and loved and creative again. I feel like, I don't know what the difference between having a high consciousness and being able to like come up with solutions and like know analytical, well, I guess that's it, analytical solutions are, because your race was like very highly trained, very highly, they like contained a lot of ancient knowledge, but for whatever reason there wasn't a lot of feeling held, there wasn't a lot of tenderness, there wasn't a lot of like, oh, I can relax. And I do feel like that's a part of like your double mission here, is to share this like ancient or not ancient wisdom, the things that you see like almost instantaneously, but it's also about like knowing that you're safe to be held by those around you and the world around you. What did you learn here on this planet? What did you learn here on this planet? Very cool. Very cool. It really looks like you learned how to bring like full manifestation, bring things out of the ether into, you got very good, like you guys are incredible manifestors. And again, maybe this goes back to this like being able to be guided by this light that comes to you, this like sensation that comes to you, but it's like you get inklings of an idea and you know how to like call on spirit and allow you and spirit to collaborate to bring it forward. Like you definitely have a deep trust in spirit. You might not trust the universe, and you're like, well, how are the universe and spirit different? I don't know. But I guess for you, it's like maybe trusting that you'll be held. But either way, this is like, and being able to like pick out from a million different possibilities, really being able to like follow that one specific idea or dream or idea or value. Like you know how to like hyper focus into like one specific area or like sensation or feeling and be able to, there's almost like this like focus, this awareness of attention. You know exactly where to put your attention, you know exactly where to put your focus, you know exactly where to put your energy. There's this full trust in spirit, there's this full trust in this sensation, and there's this bringing it into form, which definitely would be helpful. Would definitely be helpful for here on Earth. So let's ask that. What are you bringing from that world's perspective to Earth that is helpful? We have voice. I know I haven't been showing you all these cards. You are here to be known, to speak and be seen. That's reversed. What is pile number 1 bringing to Earth from their perspective? What is pile number 1? What is pile number 1? Okay, so it looks like, I mean, there's so many things that we've talked about that you're bringing to Earth right now, but it looks like specifically, like the first scenario that I'm seeing here is to like not be afraid of chaos, not be afraid of change. Also not asking why. So like when something is happening, when like this like shift is happening, when a tragedy is happening, it's like not about asking why. It's about like, okay, well, what now? And what can we create now? It's like not even like focusing on like what has happened, why did it happen? It's like, well, we have so much to work with now. Like, why don't we just build and recreate from what we have now? And it's just a trusting your ability to walk in the dark. It's trusting your ability to be able to make curious findings through just sort of like, you see this like little guy and he's like kind of sleeping, but he's got this candle and he's got this wand and he's kind of like, to me, he looks like he's kind of like stumbling about, but he's got this feather, so he's got this intuition. It's pink. He's got this higher heart intuition. He's trusting his good sense. He's trusting his good sense through this innate innocence within him, and he's just being guided by this light that he's bringing with him. So it's like not needing others to provide that light. It's like knowing that you are the light and that you can bring that light no matter where you go. So it's not about knowing where you're going. It's just knowing and believing and having faith in the light that's within you. And that light will always be creative and there will always be solutions to find. And it doesn't, and you know, sometimes like awful things happen. There is chaos, but it's not about like hyper focusing on the whys of that chaos. It's kind of like accepting that sometimes shitty things happen. And if you want to evolve from it and if you want to move forward from it, it's about kind of letting that go, letting that move on, letting the whys of that move on, and just coming to the edge of the experience that's happening in front of you right now. It's kind of like leaning into the chaos, right? A little bit, leaning into the seeming chaos a little bit, and just seeing it as an innovation, as invention, as ingenuity, and being almost like led by your passion to create something different and something new. And that there will be another day. So, I mean, that's hugely helpful right now. As you see, our world is in incredible transition, incredible trauma from that transition, and we definitely could use people with the perspective of like, hey, don't focus on the trauma of the moment. Focus on like, yes, acknowledge that, realize that that happened, that that was real, that that's valid, that the pain that you have from that is real and valid. And from this destruction, there is space for us to create again. And we can stumble through it, and we cannot know what comes next. And can we just continue to trust the light in ourselves and to move forward in tandem with spirit? So that's a huge thing. I'm glad you have that talent and that you're bringing that to this planet. And yeah, what are you here to learn? What are you here to learn? What are you here to learn on planet Earth right now? Dumavati. I don't know her that well, so I'm going to look her up really quickly. Let's see. So this is what you have come to this planet to learn. This is Dumavati, beloved mother who dwells in the smoke, who presides over the most difficult transitions. She who knows that certain endings are unavoidable. They are necessary predecessors to radical reinvention. Her presence brings the message that though disappointment, defeat, or loss, and the negative repercussions of such experiences may cause suffering for the time, they will not limit your future happiness. They are a means for opening as yet unrecognized pathways for fulfillment. Your trust must be unconditional at this time, and later you shall see that everything has worked out for the absolute best. Okay. What are you, and I'm just going to get one clarifier just to make sure that I've got this right. Yes, baby. Yes, baby. Okay. I say one and then I pull like five. Yes. Okay. Bottom. Oh my fucking God. I love tarot. Okay. So much. Oh, I love that. I love that the planet's teaching you this right now. I love this incarnation for you. Okay. So Dumavati is basically, right? She's the goddess of like death and destruction. Basically what we described here in this like Tara moment of like not asking why, embracing that you'll be able to come up with solutions, that destruction is not the end, and that there's potential for growth and creativity, right? You've already mastered that in another life, and you're bringing that here. What I feel like you're learning here on Earth is that you can learn to lean in and trust others in a way that felt really impossible before. Or it's like, yeah, it is others. It's others. It's conflict resolution. Maybe it's like people who created pain and trauma for you in the past that they can change. It's a little bit about just recognizing, because it kind of feels like this, like even with like the Ten of Swords here, like you might have like really just like been on the grind of like being in your integrity for a really long time and having to be so strong and so diligent and so like specific and focused for such a long time that this idea of rest, this idea of relaxation, this idea of like, oh, I can follow my heart now, like I can trust myself to be tender, I can like not only be on this like vigilant march forward towards justice, but there's also this feeling of like, I can relax. I am guided by spirit, and spirit's here for me, and so is the environment around me. Not only is spirit filling me up, but the people around me are filling me up. The physical space is filling me up. The sunlight coming through my window is filling me up. Like there's like these physical representations of like, maybe you just had this relationship with spirit for a really long time, and there was a lot of distrust in humanity or other beings, other races. And like you were helping heal others based off of the pain that you went through, but there wasn't a whole lot of feeling held, being held, rest, pleasantness, tenderness, and softness enough to like really like follow your intuition, follow your heart in that way. It's like kind of like diligent planning mode. And this is like kind of this present that's like, you're going to see what all of that was for. You're going to see that you don't have to be alone, that you can let go, that you can release, and that you're capable of living in a tender way. And just recognizing all of the growth that's happening all around you without your efforting on its own. It's just flourishing, and that you don't have to be wholly responsible for the world and its well-being. And because of that, you get to create your own ambitions, really. You get to create what fills you up, what desires you have. Yeah, there's almost this like coming into your own individual experience as well, and recognizing that there is beauty in that, and there's beauty in your personal endeavors, and there's beauty and truth in your own personal passions, and that's helpful for healing as well. So I do feel like that's why you're here. That's what you're learning from this planet. Ooh, buddy. Okay. I love this. This is like, this is like the cherry on top. I really feel like I'm glad this is the final card, because I feel like it ties all of these concepts together, at least for me. I hope you're still there with me and this is making some sense to you. This final card is representative of what am I here to teach. And I love this. I didn't even think about this, but I'm sure you've like heard the concept, we teach what we're learning. Okay, so this is from the Isis deck. This is the Brother in Darkness, overcoming negative energy with feminine power. With feminine power. I feel like what I wasn't saying back here was that there's a lot of male dominated energy in your past, right? A lot of intellect, a lot of action orientation, a lot of go, 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 a lot of integrity, a lot of protection, a lot of advocation, but there wasn't a whole lot of space for feminine energy. And I feel like in this time, you're learning to take this brother in darkness, you're learning to take certain masculine energies, and you're learning to balance them with feminine energies, and you're learning to heal a lot of those parts of yourself that couldn't be healed through the masculine with the feminine. You're getting that feminine nurturance here on this planet that you needed in order to fully finalize your healing. And then from that balance of having a divine, intimate knowing of healthy masculine energy, and now pairing that with the possibility and the reality and the necessity of your feminine power, your feminine healing, your feminine touch, and the feminine touch, and inviting the feminine touch into your world, and how necessary that is. You are healing yourself with that, and then you're so excited and you're so jazzed that that's even possible, and that this planet has taught you that I really feel like that's the next edge of what you're learning, and then also sharing and teaching on this planet. So I hope that made sense. I hope that was validating to you in some ways. I really feel like I don't even know what I just said. So I hope you remembered. I hope that made sense. And I love you all. I'll see you next time. Boop, boop, boop. Hello, pile number 2. Right, even before we get into that, what are we even doing here today? Well, I had this idea of learning a little bit, going into kind of like a deeper dive into Starseed Origins, but specifically like traits, characteristics, lessons learned from previous lifetimes on other planets, what we intended to bring to this planet from what we've learned in other off-planet situations, and also what we wanted to get from this lifetime, what we wanted to learn, and what we wanted to teach on this planet. So we're going to answer those questions, and I hope that's helpful. If I'm describing like a specific star race characteristically, and you're like, oh my god, that's blah 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 blah, please put that information down below in the comments so that I know, so that other people know, because I haven't. And also, if you have found literature on starseeds that you consider to be viable and interesting and like really resonates with you as helpful and true, please list that down below as well. I'm definitely, most of the information that I've gleaned has been cyclically through my own intuition and listening to other fellow tarot readers on YouTube and other healers and intuitives, like just in my day-to-day life. But like a physical book or even an internet source, I just feel like they all kind of either give really generic information or if it's not, or differing information. So just like a consensus of like one physical source of information that's like blah blah blah, this race does this stuff, that would be fantastic and I'd super appreciate it. Having said that, let us dive in. Group number 2 to your Starseed Origin reading. So first things first, where are you from? Where are you from? Oh. Okay. Okay. So, I mean, we have the Seas of Mintaka here, right? And then we have 2 Cups cards, which are water related. And the little bit that I do know about Mintaka was that it was a water-based society. So you very well could be from Mintaka, a Mintakan starseed. It honestly feels that way. It honestly feels like this is like a very watery group, a very emotionally in tune group. This is a very different group than pile number 1. Wow, this feels really good. I'm just gonna sit in your energy for a moment because it feels really wonderful and galactic as well. Galactic Federation is coming to mind. So yeah, you honestly, I do feel like this is a Mintaka Mintaka collective. Okay, so what am I getting? 9 of Cups, very independent society. And what do I mean by that? You have the 9 of Cups, which is literally about, oh my god, it's just like one of my favorite cups, but it's about like personal well-being, happiness, joy, contentment, like being just like fully content in your physical environment and your internal environment, who you are as a person, what you're surrounded in, and kind of like this like personal pride or just gratitude that like this, definitely like a recognition like of like things don't have to be this way and they are, or just like I'm so pleased that everything is exactly the way it is, that I am exactly who I am, that I am exactly what I am, and that the world around me exists the way that it does. And then over here we have the Knight of Cups, and she's separated from her cup, right? She's still glowing. She has this effervescence about her, but she does seem a little sullen. She seems a little output, kind of like isolated. And one thing about the Mintaka Starseed Collective and just this planet is that it was destroyed, so it no longer exists. So there might be a feeling of like isolation, abandonment, confusion, and just deep hurt that you maybe have always felt. But relics, I'm definitely seeing like the relics of this society, of this incredible society, of this incredible lifestyle. And I feel like she knows it too. She remembers it too. And there's almost like this bit of resentment that it doesn't exist. It's almost this anger towards the universe. Like, how could you? How could you? Like, we were doing everything right. How could this be taken away from us? Like, we were living in alignment. We were living in integrity. We created this beautiful space that all were welcome to. Like, we did everything right. Like, why were we separated from our own cup? So if there's also like just innate inner resentment that you feel, and that maybe you've felt your whole life, and just kind of like this like higher thinking, this higher knowing, right? This is the water-based society, so these people are going to be very emotionally intelligent. They're going to be basically psychic, like know what people's emotions are before they even know what their own emotions are, right? People are going to feel, I'm like so chatty right now. I'm just like, want to tell you, I want to speak to you. So maybe even like people just like innately wanting to open up to you because you still carry this wisdom. You still carry this Nine of Cups within you. This deep sense of satisfaction, this openness, this open-heartedness, this recognition that we are all one, we are all connected, but we are connected to the infinite through our heart and through our own existence, and like what it means to be a divine being. And that's very magnetic. Why? Okay. So that's what I pulled to clarify Starseed reversed. We have Temperance upright. Yeah, healing hands. There's almost like this alchemy that needs to happen, that you have the potential for, that this entire race of people has the potential for. And maybe that's why this happened. I'm not saying that's why it happened, but it's like a byproduct of what can happen through this tragedy of this planet no longer being there, of people taking it away from them, from their own greed, their own personal dissatisfaction. It's like this can be used and utilized to heal the planet, to heal yourself, to be beacons of light. Like, you were never meant to just have it only for your own planet. It was meant to be shared. And you might have feelings about that, I don't know. But I'm also noticing that she's united with her cup. She's not touching her cups, but there's two of them now. And her hands are glowing. You might be, water's also associated with healing, so definitely natural healers, maybe Reiki healers. Yeah, definitely connected to dolphins. There's an alchemy that needs to happen, that can happen, that has the potential for happening. It's a crown chakra awakening. So seeing this death or this destruction from a higher perspective or another perspective, where there's potential for alchemy and change and healing. Yeah, I definitely think you guys are Mintakans. But let me know what you think. Okay, what was it? What was it like? Okay, so where were you from? I'm like 99.11% sure that you guys are from Mintaka. What was it like? What was it like? Okay, so we've got healing again, and we have the ocean referenced. Okay, cool. So there's something that I'm getting here in reference to one Mother Mary. These are Mother Mary oracles, but it's almost like the presence of Mother Mary or Mother Mary consciousness or Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary consciousness were very much alive on Mintaka. And there's almost like healing ceremonies or blessing ceremonies, like ceremonies of initiation, which to me in this moment just feels like almost like the soul remembering itself, remembering past lives. That's really freaking cool. There's almost, oh my God, because water has memory. What? Okay, that is cool. This is like, okay, wow, okay, cool. So what I'm seeing is like a group of women, like 10 women, and they're in a circle, and like when a baby comes of age, I think like 2 or 3, they like bring this baby into the water, like with such love. And it's like this beautiful integration of all of the lives that it's had before and the agreement that it made incarnating in this one. And it's like this deep remembrance of like who you are, the wisdom that you've already collected, and why you're here. And you're just recognized from that, from your community, and you recognize it within yourself in a way that's like really gentle. Like it's not like overbearing or overburdening. It's like, oh, right, like that's who I am. And it kind of like, I also see it as like this like deep recognition as like a feeling, and then like certain memories kind of like coming to fruition as the child gets older and is ready to actually embody that information. Like the information is appropriate for the age of the child, if that makes sense. But it's this like beautiful healing ceremony and this beautiful remembrance ceremony. That is so dope. What? Oh my God. Okay, so you know what? Okay, so when Minataka was destroyed, right, there was like a bunch of refugees that like went to, I guess, other galaxies, definitely other planets. And I feel as though this is like one of the things that you brought was this remembrance ceremony. And it's also like an integration of different lineages and different like star race knowledge. I don't know if this is like an Akashic library kind of thing, like almost like information that would be most pertinent for you for your incarnation. I'm not sure. It kind of feels like they were doing different things with it, but the main one was just for personal remembrance. Like there's definitely, I just love all of the water in these cards. Even this one, I don't know if you can tell, but she's like in can you see that? Yeah, you can. Okay. She's like, I don't even know what this is. It kind of looks like leaves that are like a boat or a cocoon, and she's like on this river. And yeah, you see the ocean too. Wow. I love your energy pile too. Yeah, okay, so there's almost like this remembrance of pulling in other lifetimes from other beings or other, like Akashic remembrance, Akashic knowledge, where you're kind of remembering what you're becoming, and you can even draw on lifetimes or energy that's needed, like from future you or from like other races. It's like there's just like a collection of wisdom, and you get to basically pick and choose, or the council chooses what's most helpful for you to have access to in order to embody the lifetime of qualities that would be most helpful for you to heal, and the most helpful for you to release, to let go, but also to facilitate your growth. I don't know, that's pretty trippy. What was it like here? Lots of pearlescent halls. So much healing. Just like deeply nourishing, like so nourishing. There's just like a constant state of nourishment. I'm just seeing lots of like light like trickle in, and just like deep nourishment. Let's see what this one's about. Yeah, this is okay, so this is Golden Children. It's reversed. Whoa. It almost feels like souls, either that didn't have a place to go, or that were hurt or damaged or traumatized. It feels like, I don't know how to describe this. It feels like certain souls were being drawn to Mintaka, or just the place that you were, or maybe even the place that you went to after Mintaka. And it was just for this deep cellular healing, because you guys had like mastered healing. You didn't even need healing, but it was just this deep restorative state that you guys lived in permanently. And it was so nourishing, and it was so good for these like lost children, these lost souls, these lost people. Like for whatever reason, Hitler's coming to mind, maybe just to like reflect a soul that's like seen as like so far gone, without a hope to, restoration. And these souls would come to this place for healing. Yeah, all were welcome. No one was turned away. But like the thing was, with this energy, it was like so potent that you couldn't, I don't know how these other people were able to destroy the planet, because like from what I'm feeling is this energy being like so restorative. Like you could not feel held and just relaxed and kind of like putty in this place. So I don't know. Rainbow children, maybe some rainbow children, like indigo kids and rainbow children, maybe some of them are from Mintaka. But yeah, this definitely feels like a place for wayward souls to be restored and nourished. What did I learn? From nothing to everything. This definitely feels like the passion of renewal from nothing to everything. This feels like trusting the divine path. There are like crests of a wave, and then it crashes back into the ocean, and then it crests, and then it crashes back into the ocean. So even when you feel like you're on the peak and you crash, there's a reconnectivity with the everything that you came from, and like repossibility and reimagining and just pure potential. It's like this not fearing the nothing, not fearing the void, not fearing the pain, utilizing it as this creative spark, this creative potential. Like this even looks like a phoenix to me. So it's like rising from the ashes of yourself, rising from the ashes of your pain, and just using it as like rocket fuel to create a passion-filled, erotic-filled, vitally filled life, because you already know the potential of what life can be. So it's like not even fearing loss. It's like using loss to channel more energy for the creation of more projects. That is what you learned from Intaka. What are you bringing from the world's perspective here to Earth? What are you bringing? Oof, 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 oof. Like, again, that she's a mermaid. Let's just talk about it. Well, thank you for this. Maybe because water holds memory. And there's water here, just saying. Diving for light, but there's this aspect of you helping people purge false beliefs and almost like remembering within themselves. Maybe this is like that soul remembrance thing that you were naturally gifted in over here, but it's like them kind of like realizing the ridiculousness of like their beliefs, especially falsely held beliefs. It's reminding them of the comforts that are possible, of the beauty that's available, of like this pink sky that's available, that's just on the other side. You're kind of like having these conversations with their unconscious, or with their it's like with their crown chakras and their unconscious, and they're becoming curious about maybe subject matters that they wouldn't even thought about being curious about before. They're just like naturally thinking in ways. Yeah, okay, so I'm seeing this puppy as like almost like a person's inner curiosity, their inner child, their inner instinct as well. So it's like you're pulling out their internal instincts, their internal navigation, their internal like drive that's connected to their intuition, that's connected to their deeper knowing. And you're saying, hey, remember, like there's another way of doing this. Like, I know that this has felt comfortable for you and like safe and sane for you, but there's a whole other world out there. And like, don't be afraid to remember who and what you agreed to be when you came here. Because I guess there's like this remembrance that your soul has, that you have access to that information. And time is not running out. There's also this idea of time not running out. Something about time moving slower, that you have time in your hands. There might be some information that you have about how to harness time to work in your favor. Definitely not being afraid of time or time running out, which does make sense for just like divine femininity, and also like relaxed states of being. But yeah, not being afraid to dive deep. Remember who they are, remember who you are, and like, are you happy? Like reminding yourself, like, are you playful? Are you curious? Like, these are signs of a healthy, thriving consciousness. And if this part of you is dormant, like, what can we do to wake that up? That's what you're bringing here to Earth. What are you here to learn? We have Yin. And we have Mantra Shakti. So I'm going to read the beginning excerpt to the Mantra Shakti. Mantra, I know to be like something like words that are repeated, that have power, that have potency, that like change the subconscious. Shakti, I know to be power. Power. But there might be other meanings to Shakti. So let's just look into it. Let's let Mother Alana Fairchild speak to us. Her voice creates and dissolves universes. Her vibration within our souls creates our life path. You have the sacred power of voice. How shall you express it? To call forth effective divine assistance in all ways. Do not allow negative thought or speech to undermine your inner spiritual connection. Claim your voice and your power to create. Listen for inner guidance and then set your course in motion. Though it may not be visible in your physical world, a new order is generating within the soul. In time, it shall manifest in transformed physical circumstances. So Yin, I feel like this feels like you choosing to listen to yourself and your innate wisdom. And even in this masculine, unhealthy masculine, not even healthy masculine. I won't disrespect masculinity like that. Even in the society that we have right now that doesn't favor the yin path, we are learning and just recognizing that you're here for purpose and you're here at the exact time when maybe things are shifting enough for you to be able to live in your power and your ability to call in power and your ability to listen to yourself and listen to your intuition and it being valid. It's almost like you notice your impact on others and others' lives, but it's almost like there's a fear of going too deep yourself. There's a fear of being unrelatable. There's a fear of becoming too witchy or becoming too, I don't know. It's like, am I crazy? There's this like fear, like, am I crazy? Like this world has almost made you turn on yourself. And so it's really important for you to develop this mantra Shakti, mantras that unite you with your own sense and semblance of power and a united front with yourself, your sense of stability within yourself, your sense of trust within your own intuition, in ways that you can check your intuition if that's what you need, or just ways that you continue to check in with yourself and continue to be following your path of yin, and creating protective structures around you being able to communicate with yourself and connect with yourself in this way. That's what you're here to learn. What are you here to teach? I feel like this. I feel like, again, like with pile number 1, you're here to teach what you're learning. So this is like creating sacred space and recognizing your own power and recognizing the power of your yin and harnessing your own power through the recognition of your own power and recognizing that it's real and recognizing that it's true and recognizing that it's valid and that it's going to work. And this is you in full trust of your intuition, of your subtle knowing, of your subtle knowledge, of your subtle power. This is you harnessing that power. This is you harnessing that power and that inner wisdom and that intuitive knowing for your life, and guiding others to do the same for themselves, listening to their intuitive knowing, creating sacred space around that, creating action from that, creating community around that. But yeah, let me just read again. Alana Fairchild is such a babe. I don't know how many oracle decks she has now at this point, but I will own all of them if I can. But let me just read the first part of what she has to say about it. Shall I? I think I shall. The lunar plane. Oh, you know what? Sorry, guys. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Oh, okay. The Lunar Queen, she of the celestial crescent. There is a deep feminine wisdom that recognizes the importance of cycles of rest and replenishment as essential balancing to our actions of power and demonstration. You are asked to allow this replenishment for yourself now, trusting that you are in a cycle of creation that is about to shift into a new phase. Release and enjoy the process without having to control or force it. So you'll also be teaching others how to trust the process, how to trust their own rest, how to not be afraid of rest, or lulls, quote unquote, and that we have different cycles and seasons for different reasons, and learning how to trust your body. And when your body wants to rest, we do that. And when it's time for spring in your physical body, that you'll know that. And if you're present with your experience, you'll be able to know when it's time for what. So I hope that made sense to you. I hope that was helpful for you. And I hope you have a wonderful and blessed evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time of day it is for you. And I hope to see you next time. All right, hello pile number 3. If you chose the white stone, I'm not really sure what this is. All right, let's see, let's get into it. Where are you from? Where are you from, pile 3? Where are you from? Where are you from? Yeah, this definitely feels like okay. This is interesting. This is either like an in-between dimension or like maybe more of like an etheric space. I'm definitely sensing like that it's on the other side of the galaxy. And there's almost like this, like it lives on top of where we live. So it like lives on top, or it's like upside down. Yeah, it's almost like within this realm you can kind of like peer into other realms and other spaces. Kind of like where you're needed. This is like a mystic group of women. of the feminine energy. You go to spaces where the feminine has been forgotten or is being misled, or where the divine feminine is not trusted. And you sort of remind those spaces of what the feminine energy is. So again, this is like, maybe this was like even like a group of beings that has been displaced. I'm not sure if you have a physical planet anymore. I'm definitely seeing lots of water. And again, it might not even be like a physical space. It might just be like a feeling, like you guys exist in a feeling, or like a space in between space. But it is definitely this like service-based energy, entity, dimension, where there's lots of love. There's just so much love. It's like just pools like overflowing with just like expansion and exquisite luxurious energy. But it's not even luxurious, it's just like it feels very blissful. It feels very, yeah, exquisite keeps coming up. So I don't know if that's like attention to details. I don't know if that's just like the appreciation for artistry, art, beauty, and women and all things feminine. But it also, there is appreciation for balance as well. It's just that for whatever reason, this society, this group of people, this place where you came from hasn't forgotten the divine feminine and is like very like deeply entrenched in that divine feminine energy. Like it knows how to lean in fully, knows how to give fully, knows how to receive fully. It's like very much, and there is like a nice like reciprocity, like a nice flow of give and take, and just like very, yeah, it's a luxurious energy. You know how to be seen. You know how to embrace who you are. You know how to embrace your individuality. You understand that your individuality by its nature is helpful, because you understand that we're all part of this collective puzzle, and your unique energy, your unique intention, your unique expression is a part of the creation and the collaboration of all beings being able to step into their own energy. There's like this innate knowing that like other people can't step out and lead unless I fulfill my role and I do what I need to in order to represent the energy that I'm here to represent and embody. Yeah, you definitely, there's like this understanding of like we all fit together, and in order for everyone to be able to embody who they're here to be, I have to embody who I'm meant to be, because that's like the puzzle piece, or like the shift forward that creates the opportunity. It's like this very like this definitely interconnected, interdependent understanding of how the universe works. So that's where you're from. Let's look and we're kind of like learning a little bit about like what it was like. But let's learn a little bit more about that. What was it like on this planet? Sorry, I'm like shedding. I've got my little hairs everywhere. Apologies. Might not bother you. That would have bothered me. Okay, what was it like? Yeah, cosmic heart. Perspective. Again, it's like this mirroring. It's like very interesting. It definitely feels multi-dimensional, and almost like your existence is on this side of the mirror, and like other people are on this side of the mirror, and you can go through the mirror and like dip into their existence and dip into their dimension, but it's like yours is like opposing it somehow, or like not like opposing it by being different from it. It's like it's just on the other side of this mirror. I don't know how to describe that, so I'm sorry. Yeah, definitely not afraid of shadow work. You like, in fact, you like alchemy. You like looking at the other side of things. You find other perspectives very interesting. This definitely seems like a very intellectual based society as well. Like you like creating for the sake of creating, And it's not intellectual, like, ooh, yeah, like, look at this information, aren't I smart? It's like the sheer joy of like knowing the information and being able to like play with the information and create from the information. It's like the love, like the pure love of that idea, of that transference of that idea, of like being able to interact with that idea. It's like, yeah, it's just the love that is even possible or fathomable or exists. I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but I hope I am. And yeah, there's like not this judgment. What was it like there? There was like not this judgment of like different paths. You like love different paths. You're like, yeah, okay, we're all getting to the same place anyway. You want to go over there? Cool. You want to go over there? Cool. It doesn't seem like there was like a definitive route, or like when you incarnated here, it's like full of possibility and creativity. And if you like evolve into a different state, like your destiny could change, your fate could change, and that's like totally supported. You're like literally in this interactive dance and this push-pull with life, and you like the unknown, you embrace the unknown, and you appreciate that, you know, we don't have to know what's going to happen next. In a lot of ways, like what we're creating now will create like the loophole, the possibility, or like the gateway that creates the space that has never been created before. So you guys could be very like eccentric in this life and like very much like, I don't need a path, you know? I'll know when I get there. A lady of ripening on the vine. I definitely feel that you could create anything from your mind in this dimension. And you could see the pathways. You could see like, well, if I follow this stream and I follow this stream, like this will lead to this particular abundance. And if I follow this stream, this will lead to this particular abundance. And you just realize that all paths were leading you to a certain level of possibility, and that you could create potentially whatever reality that you wanted, no matter where you went. So it wasn't like about the specific path that you went on. It was more just about creativity and possibility and being able to see what could be created through no matter like what path you went down. So is this like inner vision and this like inner understanding of like, and also like following the river. You know, I think like Esther Hicks, is that her name? Yeah, I think so. Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks. She talks about like the stream, the flow, like kind of like just getting in the river and like letting it take you. There is also this like innate trust of like where the river is taking you, because you can actually see where that particular river is taking you. So you can choose it with almost like this thorough precision of like, this is what I'm wanting to experience. I'm going to hop in this river and I know that it's going to take me there. So that's pretty cool too. But yeah, very much envisioning possibilities, endless possibilities, endless expanse. Like it was very much like training you and gearing you towards just creation for the sake of creation, for the beauty of creation, because it's possible, and the appreciation that like all things, all physical manifestation, or even if it, yeah, I guess it was physical. This is like just such an etheric place. It's like kind of hard for me to tell like how much of what you were creating was like physically tangible. But yeah, everything at the center was this cosmic heart and this acceptance of abundance. Like all things are possible. It was just like, you knew, and you knew how to create it for yourself. So that's what it was like. What did you learn? What did you learn? Two sides of the same coin. I really feel like you learned how to like alchemize anything. It's very much like you understand, you can alchemize what you want by understanding opposites. So if you were standing on like one ridge, it's very, I don't know how to describe this, I'm so sorry. But it's like if you're standing on one ridge and looking out over at this ridge, so there's also like There's this acceptance of where you are, and from where you are, you can achieve and receive all that you desire. It's not about going somewhere else. It's about bracing where you are in order to achieve what you desire. So that's the first thing. And if you see something out there that you want, it's about recognizing that that's within you as well. Okay, that's the other aspect. If you see it, you can be it. And that's already within you. That's already a possibility with you, because everything is a reflection of who we are in the universe. And it's about picking and choosing what it is you most desire in order to like create your optimum desire, even like an unknown possibility through this like collection of this coalition of specifically curated experiences and creating your own experiences. That's definitely a big part of it, but it's definitely like if it's outside of you, it's also within you, and you start from within. Yeah. What did you bring from? What did you learn? What did you learn? I don't know. I'm going to read these two. Let's see. I've got Kurukula. She is the vibrant red pulsating with the feminine power of enlightened activity, infusing our hearts with her capacity for sacred sorcery to conjure and create according to love's guiding wisdom, to receive the divine inheritance of blessings and support for sacred fulfillment. Certain karmic conditions that resonate at a lower frequency need to be cleared away. The lesson is to release, to receive. Kurukula symbolizes a time of rapid movement on your life path and freedom to attract what you need and want. However, you must be willing to let go of negativity, that which does not belong in your world. Yeah, this definitely feels like a faith in what hasn't been created yet, and knowing that it's possible. I think that was a big part of what you learned here, was that you can, if you even sense it, if you even see it in your mind's eye, you can have it, you can hold it, you can become it. It is possible, it is real, it has already been created. So there's a big aspect of like being able to like chase after your desires, or just even be able to attain your desires just through even the creation of the idea itself. That's one of the main things that you learned there. And I'm going to look at this flower of life really quickly. You're entering a fertile period of your life. Focus on your innate creativity. Wow, that's 2 times. Both mention creativity and how potent this is becoming, and watch it rapidly grow. You are guided to think of yourself as a creative being and to surrender your control over how things will manifest, and instead allow them to do so. Don't resist change, instead flow and let it happen. Now is the time for your blossoming. I definitely feel like you learned like how to get to this space. Like even if you weren't in a creative space, you could find it within. This is like really about like being able to mine your inner wells for the capacity for change and for manifestation and for excitement and inspiration again. So if you're like in a lull, or I guess it's like kind of like realizing that there is no like true lull. There might be like periods of rest or relaxation, but there's at the center of it all is this flower of life. And you really learned that that exists always, and above all other things and through all things, and like this resilience for being able to tap into it time and time again, no matter what the circumstance is. What are you here to bring to Earth? What are you here to bring to Earth? I really feel like you're here to take the mask off of Earth and like what we think we're attracted to and why we think we're attracted to those things and where are we creating from? What is the intention behind our actions? Why are we wanting the things that we're wanting? Because here you're really creating for creativity's sake. And I feel like you sense on Earth that there are a lot of people creating out of fear, out of anxiety, out of distrust, and out of like hoarding or greed. And so you see a lot of these things crumbling. You see a lot of these systems that are built out of lack, basically. Systems that are generated to create a continuous cycle of need, not for actually desire, not for actual creativity, not for actual enlivenment, but just for like basic survival and even kind of like a miserable survival. And so you see a lot of these wheels that people have spun coming undone, and you see that it is this beautiful gift that the universe is creating, this spaciousness where like new possibilities and new creations are meant to be born out of. And you're really here to help people through this transition to realize like, oh, I actually didn't want the life that I was living before. Oh, now I have this space within me. What do I want to create? What is possible for me to create? And from your previous lifetimes, you've already recognized, you've already wielded the power of you can see it, you can have it. And so you're really here to help people become comfortable with this void that's been created from the universe, to help people release and let go of lifestyles that were really not serving them. And you're here to help them find peace and rest and relaxation, even within these like seemingly chaotic transitions that we're all going through as people. What are you here to learn? What are you here to learn on planet Earth? What are you here to learn on planet Earth? Let's see. Okay, so I really feel like you're here to learn discernment. I really feel like you're here to like maybe pick one path, maybe like before. You did need to pick a path, and you know, all things were like up in the air and all things are possible, and a lot of those things are still true. But I think there's this aspect, for whatever reason, on planet Earth, like if you don't, you're just gonna go, for whatever reason, how growth works, at least for you in particular, like if you don't pick a specific path that's led by your own discernment, your own intuition, your own heart, your own intuition, and kind of like diligently follow plans, ideas, projects, a path all the way through, I feel like what you're going to experience is sort of like this like dizzying, like going around and around and around and around in circles. And you're like, I'm experiencing different things, I'm trying different things. Why do I just keep seeming to have the same experiences over and over and over and over again? And for whatever reason, the universe wants you to learn how to develop and pick one path and really just like continue cultivating something that you really desire, one thing in particular, and you just keep cultivating that thing, and you keep like digging your roots into that thing and keep getting nourishment from that thing. And like, instead of being scattered or even just like finding many things that you love, and I'm sure you will have many things you love, it's almost like simplifying and becoming grounded, becoming centered, and instead of expanding, kind of finding expansion through aligning with your true nature, and doing that through picking one path. Don't know why, but that's what I see. And what are you here to teach? Ooh, I love this. Again, the mirroring. You're here to teach that being loyal to others is being loyal to yourself, and being loyal to yourself is being loyal to others. Like, you're here to help people figure out where they've betrayed themselves by not being loyal to certain characteristics of their own heart. Like, you're really here to help people, because it's not one way or the other, and it really is this balancing act of providing for others does provide for yourself, but then some people lose themselves in providing for others, and you can't really feel yourself unless you're providing for others or you're providing for yourself. So it's kind of like this, finding this middle ground of knowing that listening to yourself, listening to the inclinations that you have, listening to your inspirations, speaking your mind, speaking your heart with truth is a loyalty to others, even if it makes them feel uncomfortable at times, even if it makes them feel like you're separating or isolating yourselves. Like, being authentic and truthful to yourself is being loyal to the relationship. And there's also this aspect of having a loyal heart to yourself by being loyal to those in your life. And so you're really here to help teach people that we are mirrors of one another and we are reflections of one another, and what is outside of us is also inside of us, and how people to make peace with that, make peace with themselves by making peace with others, and make peace with others by making peace with themselves. I hope that makes sense, and the abundance that can happen from finding that middle ground. So pile 3, that is what I have for you. I hope that was interesting. I hope that was insightful. I hope that made sense. If it did, please comment down below. This is one of my first videos, so, you know, if you have any feedback, if you're like, Megan, you're really just like rambling about for a while, like, please share that with me. I am going to, I'm sure these readings will develop and change as I develop and change as a reader, especially a reader on YouTube, but any feedback would be so deeply appreciated and helpful. And I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. Many blessings. Bye, pile 3. Hi, pile 4. If you picked this black onyx or this black stone, this is your pile. Congratulations, you made it. So in case you don't know what we're doing Starseed Origins reading. So looking into where you're from, what it was like, what you learned there, what you're here to bring here, all that kind of gravy train. So let's, without further ado, let's get into it. Where were you from? A desertous place. It was kind of sad. It was kind of bleak. There was a lot of death. I'm sorry. To start there. Yeah, there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of suffering here on this planet. I still do see this like little light here. So I don't know what that is reflective of. Softening to love is what's coming through. And it does. It feels like this like vulnerable little speck in this landscape of desert and expanse, like possibility or hope. So I'll continue. This seems like a lot of souls passing from your planet at the time you left. A lot of souls ascending and maybe even ascending right where they were. That's interesting because you see like this like desertous plain, and then like underneath is this like beautiful like portal and this like gorgeous rose pink blue world right underneath it, and we're going back to this little light. So there might have been like kind of like hiding in plain sight. You might have been able to create another world where you were based off of what happened on the surface or what happened in like war-stricken parts of your planet. You might have been able to like go underground and or be on the ground and just be experiencing a different dimension on that planet. Yeah. Longing for home, homesick for the stars. Yeah, I definitely feel like you guys had to leave in a mass exodus way. I think that you went to this planet to try and help heal it. And for whatever reason, it was just too far gone. And they couldn't receive the healing that you had for them. And it was like 70-30, like 70% they could and 30% they couldn't. And even with those odds, it still wasn't enough. But that's okay because your souls were able to either create new life, etheric life on this world or this planet, or you just left. You just left. You might be travelers. I mean, honestly, all of I don't know, like all of these piles have been about planets that don't exist anymore, I feel. Or just like travels, or like really just like travelers, like people that don't have a particular home in specific, or they do, but they frequently go to other planets and other planes and help with the expansion of their people. So anywho, yeah, it's a very healing frequency. I'll let you know that. Maybe not this planet that you started on, but the frequency that you resonate in and the frequency that you bring is like very etheric. It's very relaxing. It almost like feels like a hum, like I want to like sing. It's almost like a you know, it's like very, I don't even know, it almost just feels like space and gentle, like a gentle breeze. Like there's not much thinking here. It's more of just this feeling and this sense of peace. So that's where you're from. What was it like? I feel like we've just gotten into that, but what was it like? What was it like? Yeah, so this was very much maybe like a place in between places, or you could exist in almost like a holographic, etheric body, astral body way on a physical planet, and you came to connect people to higher realms of knowledge and resources. And there was just like so much expansion, so much. I'm just like looking at this turquoise and like her arms and how she's just like open arm, just like fully diving into like restoration, peace, a new way of being. Like you're really good. This planet was really good at like reforming ideas and healing those that maybe had sick or unwell minds, and reminding them of who they are and where they came from and what is possible. Like that is like what this place was. It was just like this like hum, this like beautiful like healing hum. And what you did was remind people of who and what they are. What did you learn? What did you learn while you're here? What didn't you learn? What didn't you learn? Rebirth is possible. That's like the first and foremost thing, and it's like an internal process. Like you have to agree to it, you have to believe in it, and then total reformation is possible just based off of the particles that we're made of, where we came from, what our original design is. Total reformation, reclamation of our sovereign being, of our sovereign state, of our heart based ethereal living is 100% and completely possible. So that's the main thing, that this higher light always exists with us, that we have this inner guide, this inner I feel like you knew this, like you know this information, but what you learned is even like going on other planets is that we all have this secret protector within us that safeguards this light and the beauty of this sovereign information. And no matter where we go, no matter what we do, no matter what choices we make, this protector protects us from ever being able to portray that knowledge and that wisdom, and makes it so that we can always find our way back to it no matter what. And if we call out for help, it will be answered. This protector does that. It like goes forth and is like, hey, we're making this call out, they're wanting this, they're ready for this, they're asking for help. And it's almost like this protector was the one that would call out to you. Like if this protector made the call, you guys would arrive and show up. And I think you're really impressed with the dedication of this protector that we all have as like sovereign alive beings, sovereign divine children of the universe, that no matter what frequency or dimension that we're in, we always have this Black Panther. We always have this like inner fierce loving mama protectress or protector that will do what they can to lay claim to that beautiful sovereign essence that's at the core of our being, that makes our life possible. And if we ever become to a state where we forget, that we always have a way back into remembrance, and that this higher love, this inner peace, this inner knowing is the truth of the universe, that all things are here for us to find harmony and balance, an inner knowing, inner being one with our innermost self, which is this truth, which is this knowledge, which is this affinity towards balance and fairness and justice and love, and that even if the curiosity of our souls becomes to the point where it becomes imbalanced or unwell, or we're searching planes for other experiences other than divine love, that divinity and that remembrance always remains with us and always remains true. Now we have divine partners. We go into this life with divine partners to help remind us where we're from. And they might look different, but essentially it's the same frequency. It's like a frequency similar enough to help you remember where you came from, because it's so in alignment and attunement with that original frequency. Like your soul can't ignore that, it can't deny that. And we embody with one person, maybe two people, who remind us of that original frequency, original light beingness that originates within our soul. Okay. What am I bringing from that world's perspective here? Don't be ashamed of your darkness. It doesn't matter what you do. You can never diminish your worth or your innocence in the eyes of the divine. They're never bored of you. They're never dismissive of you. Like, they will always come to you. They always want the highest, greatest good of all beings, including you. You're not forgotten. You're not abandoned. No one has thrown you out like the trash because of decisions that you've made. They're always wanting harmony and possibility for you, and they're always willing, the universe, to do what is needed in order to bring that union back into play. Whirling goddess. You're here to remind us that creativity is the music of the gods, is the life force that reminds us of who we are. Creativity is the life force that reminds us who we are and how to create lifestyles that really promote our expression and our pure creativity, and to remind us that we are worthy of that and we are deserving of that. And that change doesn't have to be chaotic. Change can be loving, change can be natural, change can be safe and protective. That's also what you're here to teach us. What are you here to learn? What are you here to learn? What are you here to learn? Home is where your body is. Home is like where your consciousness is. You can't leave home. Home is with you always. Divine is with you always. There will always be a part of you that is deeply belonging and at home, and that like frequency, that like love frequency that you're missing, that you're longing, like there will always be a piece of that within you, and there will always be a piece of that like wherever you incarnate, there will be a place for you to reconnect with that, because everything is a reflection of everything that's inside of you. So if it's inside of you, like you wouldn't incarnate into a place that doesn't have a reflection of that intonation that exists within you, right? So even if you feel like displaced or like no one understands you, no one gets you, like this doesn't feel like home, like even you remembering that frequency and just existing within that frequency, one, brings that frequency here, and two, it's just, yeah, like remembering like all of this is part of the universe. So if you have that memory of that experience of that like divine sense of like love and being held, like that exists here, that exists everywhere, in every particle of every being. Like all potential exists within every particle of every being, basically. And so you might be here to like create more spaces that harmonize with that space in you. There might not be many spaces that physically exist that harmonize within that existence or way of being, but you can create it. If you feel it, if you remember it, you can create it, and you're meant to. That this life isn't happening to you. Like even if there was a lot of pain, a lot of dysfunction, a lot of like people not remembering you, being considerate of you, there might have been a lot of hurt, a lot of unnecessary hurt in your childhood, and you're growing up, and you're just like, why? Like I'm such a good person. Like I know that I love, I know that I care. Okay, so two things. Okay. I see this red and I see this red, and I'm remembering, okay, so there might be a little bit of guilt left within your soul that's still attracting, because you might have regretted not being able to save these people or save this planet, and so there might have been a little bit of like a residue of like guilt or shame about not being able to preserve this space the way that you came to this planet or intended to. And so some of your childhood might have been playing out that subconscious past life regret of like, I deserve this, or yeah, it's like not being able to save those people or save that planet. And so a lot of why you're here and what you're learning here is to be kind to yourself, is to be forgiving to yourself, is to recognize that you can't take full responsibility for other people's lives or other people's choices. And the best thing that you can do for them and yourself is to find this frequency of bliss, of home, of restoration, and create within that. Like, and you are enough. You are enough. You existing here is enough. That's just, you really it's about that. And I think you don't understand how much you provide by just existing the way that you do. And I think at some point during this life, I do feel like you see yourself in certain instances and you know what you provide, like the quality of depth and love and compassion and care that you provide, but it still doesn't seem enough because you're trying to make up for this situation that happened and it's already gone, it's already over with. And you might see a lot of similarities between that planet and this planet that we're on. And there might be like the savior complex of like, oh, I wasn't able to do it then, maybe I can do it now. But again, like what you're learning is it wasn't your fault then. It's not your responsibility now. How you help is anchoring in these light codes of restoration, of peace, of personal contemplation, of self-reflection, but then also just inherent worthiness. That's how you help this planet, anchoring in the codes of inherent worthiness. And you don't always have to be in another mission, saving another person. Sometimes just saving yourself, or even not even saving yourself, just savoring in yourself and what life provides. Naturally, like this woman, she's just like in this hot spring and it's like beautiful. She's not like, she's really letting it sink in, like how wonderful her surroundings are, how beautiful her surroundings are, how nourishing this moment is, and she's letting that in. She's not worried that other people, other places are like suffering or not having homes or not feeling this sense of satisfaction. She's really allowing the opportunity for those people to find that sense of satisfaction by anchoring in the light code for that sense of peace, wellness, and well-being within herself. And I really feel like that's what you're here to learn. What are you here to teach? What are you here to teach? What are you here to teach? I really feel like what you're here to teach is what you're learning, which is like sometimes it's just time to go. Sometimes you can't help people, or you're not the person that's meant to help them. Like, universe has got it. You don't always have to be the person who's giving people a leg up, especially if it's holding you back from moving forward to the development that your soul is ready for. Like, you help people the most by stepping into the fullest embodiment of yourself. So I feel you like hanging back and trying to help others, and like there will be plenty of people to help along your journey and along your travels. And it's really about you recognizing that you can step into who you're becoming and who you are and what you're worthy of, and that is just as helpful as physically helping people recognize their value and their worth. Like, you moving into that more deeply, anchoring that more thoroughly, will give people the opportunity to recognize that within you and recognize that potential within themselves and do it for themselves. There's this big letting go, release of this fear of like, I have to do it for others because I messed up on this one planet this one time. And you really don't. You really don't. That's not the universal design. Even if we are here to help others, we are not here to do it for others. And like finding that inner balance of me stepping up into myself and leading from example is way more helpful than me just being there to facilitate the growth of others. I need to facilitate the growth of myself and continue moving into those uncomfortable, unknown spaces within myself so that other people behind me have an example of what that looks like and what is possible, because you're ready for it. And that's what I have for you. I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed that. Comment below if it did make sense. If it didn't make sense, all feedback's really helpful at this point. This is my first Pick-a-Card tarot reading on YouTube, so I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I hope to see you again. Thanks, guys.